This is CBS on Paramount Plus.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album, the show in which we pick a song or album, listen to it for an entire week straight, and then come back here and tell you, the listener, if we hate it and why. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, Pierce Brosnan to my Daniel Craig, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how are you doing?
I am upset, Garrett.
Why are you upset?
Well, because Gino has been super excited all week about this episode, and he finally told me Mr. Harvey Garrett and Mr. Tim do one of Gino's best heroes. Apparently, he's a huge fan of the Artist of the Week, and when I asked him about his music, he seemed completely unaware. The man of the hour, the man of the week, was a musician.
Yeah, that is disturbing. Let's go ahead and continue our trend of not letting Gino on mics.
Yes.
Sorry, this was the one too, Gino. We were going to give you your own segment, but sounds like fascist propaganda once again. So we'll go ahead and skip that segment. Alrighty, Timmy, when not worried that our producer's going to get us canceled despite the fact that very, very few people are listening, what album have you been listening to for an entire week straight?
I have been listening to Roger Waters' 1987 masterpiece, Radio K.A.O.S, as suggested by somebody, unclear whomst, as Gino has been deleting the emails, texts, and DMs to, and I'm quoting here, halt future investigation success. But several people have suggested this, or at least one person has suggested this multiple times, so thank you.
Somewhere between one and checks notes. Many. Okay, and after an entire week with Radio K.A.O.S, Total Chaos, I'm beyond curious, Tim. Do you hate this album?
I don't, Garrett. I don't hate this album. I might by the time we're done with it, but as of now, I'm pretty far from hating it. I enjoyed this week. This was stupid. It was stupid and mediocre and kind of bad, but it was crazy and fun, so I'm in. What about you, Garrett? Do you hate this?
No, not even a little. It's great. It's so great and weird and strange, and the whole reason we do this show, like sometimes you forget, right? You're just like, why in the fuck did we pick a show format where we torture ourselves? And the reason is to find stuff like this. It's so weird.
Oh, yeah.
And I would certainly never have listened to it on my own.
No, you shouldn't, because it's, bad.
Is it, though?
Yeah.
That's the question.
It is. We can say this. We don't hate it, but it is bad. That's the tagline.
I don't know if I'm ready to say it's bad. It's not good.
I'm ready to say
it's
bad.
Yeah. All right, well, that's why we have the show. You don't hate it. I don't hate it. A lot of people are saying we actually enjoy it quite a bit. But before we can make that declaration, we've got to move forward. So, Tim, I'm curious, prior to this week, what's your history of Mr. Waters? I assume you haven't really ventured into his solo works, but you tell me.
Well, I enjoy quite a bit of Pink Floyd from the early Syd Barrett era through The Wall. I am pretty unfamiliar with Roger Waters' solo work, nothing with this album in particular. I have seen him live at least once, maybe twice in 2010 to 2012 on the Wall tour, either in Dallas or Austin, or possibly Dallas and Austin. But that's the extent of my experience with this fella. I've never been interested in his solo work. I've never been interested in his work post-1979, I would say.
84. No.
79.
Probably 79. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a very big fan of his early career, I guess you could say.
I'm curious, though, like, you don't put The Wall on.
Not often, but I mean, I really love, obviously, Dark Side of the Moon's great, Animals is great, Wish You Were Here is great. The Wall is slightly more hit or miss for me, but I mean, I could listen to it all the way through. It doesn't work for me as much as those other three, but
fair.
What about you? I assume this is your first Roger Waters experience.
Indeed. Yeah, I have basically the exact same history as you. Only small deviation would be that I went like a little overboard in late high school on my deep Pink Floyd, and so I'm kind of sick of it. I was a little over it. We also had some friends in college that were a little too into it.
Yes.
And they kind of ruined it. So that'll happen. Don't you hate it when people enjoy things wrong? Anyway, that's my history. That's your history. That is to say, we have the same history, But before we can talk about this album, the insanity on this album, we need to understand a little bit about the man who made it. So Tim, take me on a journey, help you understand, and maybe the listener, who is Roger Waters? How did Radio K.A.O.S, Chaos, come to be?
George Roger Waters, a.k.a. Roger Waters, or ROG for short, was born during
Hold on. I thought I was mishearing the first 6 times. Are you saying Roger?
I'm going with the British pronunciation, yes.
That can't be accurate. That's not how British people say Roger, is it?
Yeah, Roger Waters. They say it funny. I mean, I'm not doing the accents because I can't do accents, but I'm pronouncing it the way they do sans accent. Anyway, Garrett,
I'm going to tell you something. I don't have time to Google it right now, but I'm gonna, and then you're getting a slap. I don't buy this at all.
ROG was born during the best sequel in history in 1943 in Great Bookham, Surrey, England. His father, Eric, was a very devout Christian, a very devout communist, and a school teacher who was a conscientious objector during the Great World War II, who drove an ambulance during the Blitzkrieg. Now, he would later denounce pacifism and join the army. He joined the Royal Fusiliers, aka the 7th Regiment of the Foot, Go Fusiliers, in 1943, after which he was promptly killed during the Battle of Anzio by somebody Gino kept referring to as a hero of Rome, and then he said something about miscegenation. It got ugly. Any hoozlehoomst, ROG's dad was killed by an Italian fascist when he was 5 months old, after which he moved to Cambridge with his mom, went to Cambridgeshire High School for boys, go Wildcats. Now, Roger was good at sports. He campaigned unsuccessfully for nuclear disarmament, and he wanted to go into mechanical engineering. Alas, he took a test that said he would be better at architecture, so he went to architecture school in London in 1962, where he met Nick Mason and Richard Wright, future Pink Floyders and also aspiring architects, I guess. In 1963, Roger, Nick, and Dick dropped out of architecture school and formed a band with a couple of other guys they called Sigma 6 and sometimes the Megadeths. They mostly just jammed together, but would occasionally play private functions in bars and such. Those other couple guys left, so they recruited Syd Barrett and a guy named Bob Close to join. They changed their name to the Abdabs, then the Screaming Abdabs, then Leonard's Lodgers, Spectrum 5, the T-Set, the Pink Floyd Sound, the Pink Floyd Blues Band, and finally Pink Floyd in 1966 with Syd Barrett as their sort of like weird, drugged up Buddy Holly.
Yeah, kinda.
They released The Piper at the Gates of Dawn in 1967, which I actually like quite a bit, although it is not what you think of when you think of Pink Floyd. If you like Pink Floyd and would like something you probably don't listen to frequently, I would suggest that album. But again, it's no
I didn't hear
Dark
that
Side.
album till I was like 21, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't
hear
hear
it growing up?
No. That and like Uma Gama or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm not a huge fan of that. But it's like that first Grateful Dead album that you're just like, well, this isn't the Grateful Dead. Like, it's not bad, but like you're clearly trying to do a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Syd contributed also to A Saucer Full of Secrets, but he just started to decline mentally after that, probably due to his heavy use of LSD, amphetamines, and mandrax, which quick Google told me is Quaaludes. He developed a 1,000-yard stare, stopped recognizing friends or where he was. During performances, he would either not play his guitar, strum a single chord the entire time, or like progressively detune his guitar throughout the show without actually playing anything. He generally wouldn't sing, and on at least one occasion, he just stood there motionless with his arms by his side, staring off into nothingness while the band played, like that time Patton Oswalt did that exact same thing as a life bit during a scene of King of Queens. Find the King of Queens episode.
Dude, at what point are you in that band and you're like, hey, Syd, so we have a show later. It'd be really cool if you did some singing in that show and not, this is important, went on a giant drug bender and had a mental episode on stage.
Yeah, it was 3 songs into the recording of Saucer Full of Secrets, to answer your question.
Accurate.
Sid had to go, Garrett. They allegedly parted ways by mutual decision, but obviously not. And the band brought in David Gilmour to replace him in 1968, after which Rog took a much bigger role in the band as sort of the main lyricist and really creative driving force behind the whole thing. Pink Floyd released both More and Umaguma in 1969, Atom Heart Mother in 1970, which got a D+ from our buddy Robert Seagal, Metal in 1971, Obscured by Clouds in 1972, before releasing The Dark Side of the Moon in 1973, brilliantly and amazingly synced to the not yet released VHS version of The Wizard of Oz. I don't know how the fuck they did that. And that
Magic.
album has sold more than 40 million copies worldwide, spending 736 consecutive weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. That's 14.2 years. So
That's amazing.
they're doing pretty well, Garrett. They released Wish You Were Here in 1975, an album that heavily references Syd Barrett. During the sessions for that, Syd Barrett showed up to Abbey Road Studios unannounced. He was 29, had gained a ton of weight, had shaved his head and eyebrows, literally unrecognizable to his bandmates. He brushed his teeth while listening to Shine On You Crazy Diamond. I don't know which parts. He said that the song sounded a bit old, which is kind of rude. He asked for his guitar, apparently expected to play on the album, and then the internet says he possibly maybe went uninvited to David Gilmour's wedding, which was happening right after this, and that was the last time that any of the band members ever saw or spoke to him. Now, Dave claims he has no memory of him being there, and I assume that means that he definitely did not go to that wedding, because if you Google what he looked like at the time, like, you would remember Uncle Fester at your wedding.
Dude, is there any other way to quickly and universally let everybody know you're not okay than shaving your eyebrows?
Adding a second pair of eyebrows, either above or below.
Okay, hold on. Say more. What are those eyebrows made of?
Other people's eyebrows? I don't know. Shave little snippets of
I
hair.
fully expected you to say purloined eyebrows.
I mean, maybe you cut a little hair off your head and put them under your eyes, so you got eyebrows on both sides.
Maybe that's what happened to Sid. Maybe somebody stole his eyebrows. It was like, instead of waking up in a bathtub full of ice, he just woke up to a freshly shorn scalp.
Yeah, it happens
face.
more than you think.
Yeah, twice.
But in all honesty, that is once more than I thought. In 1977, Pink Floyd released Animals. In 1979, they released The Wall. Now, both of these were primarily written by Roger. The inspiration for The Wall came from a time that Rog was apparently annoyed in concert by some rowdy fans, so he spit on them, because Rog is a real asshole. More on that later. But then he was allegedly shocked by his own behavior, but from this he got the idea to build a wall between the band and the audience, and bingo bango, 30 million more units sold.
Interesting.
Pink Floyd released the final cut in 1983, which was essentially a Roger Waters solo album, after Rog refused to delay production for David Gilmour to finish some songs he was working on, and then took David Gilmour's name off of the production credits. Rog then left Pink Floyd in 1985. The rest of the guys continued as Pink Floyd. Rog sued them for years to try to force them to stop, finally agreeing to be released from all contractual obligations and retaining rights, exclusive rights, I believe, to The Wall and that giant inflatable pig. More on that later, because we're going to get into anti-Semitism.
Yeah, we are. I saw some paperwork that seemed to imply that it was for the settlement, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. They can't play that music. He has exclusive rights to it. I'm sorry, what's this about an inflatable pig?
Yeah.
Like, what a weird thing what an odd hill to die on.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an asshole, so there's that.
Yeah, that's true. Sort of like a Redditor come to life.
Yes, and the problem is he just can't shut the fuck up. Like, David Gilmour is, probably not nearly as responsible for this as he is, but in the Roger Waters v. David Gilmour fight, I just assume that David Gilmour is blameless because he doesn't just, run his mouth constantly. Pink Floyd continued to release albums and tour. Rog released his first solo album, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, heavily featuring Eric Clapton. The whole album is basically Rog's fantasy about adultery with a filthy traveler. The album is framed in real time, taking place between 4:30-18 a.m. to 5:12-32 a.m. It was divisive, to say the least.
I'm already irritated and I've never heard it.
Yeah, he lost close to 500,000 British pounds sterling on that tour because nobody wanted to hear that. And he started advertising the tour as like the hitchhiker thing plus, the stuff you want to hear.
Right.
In 1987, Rog released the album of the week, Radio K.A.O.S, a concept album that was intended to be a double album, then got trimmed down to a single album with some B-sides that apparently fill in the story, which is a crazy thing to do for a concept album. More on that definitely later. In 1989, Rog did The Wall live in Berlin for 200,000 people, and up to what the internet claims is 1 billion television viewers. That seems high, but it featured Joni Mitchell, Cyndi Lauper, Bryan Adams, and last week's guest of honor, Scorpions, featuring Doug on Propaganda. In 1992, Rog released Amused to Death, which some people seemed to like more than the rest of his solo work and a lot of Pink Floyd, which is crazy to me. He wouldn't tour that until 1999 for his In the Flesh tour, although again, on that tour he played mostly Pink Floyd songs. He released some new songs about the Iraq War in 2004, then actually reunited with the rest of Pink Floyd for Live 8 in 2005 in London, after which he said it felt good to be with the boys and he would not be doing it again because he hates David Gilmour.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. He's a Noel or Liam Gallagher, just without his counterpart. So he's just an asshole.
Yeah, that's fair.
Later in 2005, he released an opera called Saira about the French Revolution for some reason. In 2006, he started a Dark Side of the Moon live tour. In 2010, he did a The Wall live tour for 2 years to more than 1.4 million people, which became the highest grossing tour by a solo artist at the time. It has, of course, been wildly surpassed. In 2013, he was accused of anti-Semitism for using the giant inflatable pig mentioned earlier with a Star of David on it as a concert prop, but he said he was just one of the many religious and political symbols that he used during the show, and he was not trying to single out Judaism as an evil force, which is odd and very specific phrasing for him to use, and makes me think that he was maybe doing that and maybe thinks of Judaism as an evil force. Now, he's well known for his support of like the Palestinian people and criticism of Israel's treatment of the Palestinians, which, is completely fair, as it is horrible in many ways. I agree with a lot of his critiques. But the way he talks about Jews in Israel, suspect at best. More on that later.
Yeah, the crux of his argument is always stop conflating what I'm saying. As Roger Waters, to be clear, just because I want to be real clear about that, his argument is always the media conflates what I'm saying when I'm talking about Zionism as opposed to Judaism. And my argument is that's because of the words you're using.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is it sure sounds like you're conflating it, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
And by conflating, I mean referring to it as a quote-unquote evil force.
Yes, more on that later. In 2017, he released the album Is This the Life We Really Want? In 2022, he told an RT interviewer that rumors of an upcoming Russian invasion into Ukraine were Russophobic propaganda. After the invasion, he blamed Ukraine and NATO and the US, saying it was probably the most provoked invasion ever. He then wrote a bunch of open letters suggesting that Ukraine was run by Nazis. He said a bunch of pro-Putin nonsense, gave a speech to the UN Security Council on the behest of the Russian government for some reason, and criticized Pink Floyd for releasing a song in support of Ukraine.
Dude, he spoke in front of the UN Security Council twice. Are they not allowed to say no thank you?
I don't know. I suggest
how does that
put
work?
Gino in front of them and just see what happens.
Honestly, in this day and age, I don't think that's a great goof.
Yeah, he might become king of the world.
Right. He might be, elected king of the world.
Rog released The Dark Side of the Moon Redux in 2023. Now, this removed David Gilmour's filthy guitar solos, added a bunch of spoken word sections and interstitials to make it good. You know how you'd like more spoken word and acoustic stuff in that album? He did 2 concerts where he performed the album the way it was always meant to be heard. He talked about Julian Assange and related topics, and read from his unpublished memoir. In 2023 and 2024, he told Piers Morgan and Glenn Greenwald that he thought the October 7th attacks in Israel were probably false flag operations. A documentary found a bunch of emails, alleged emails from Rog to his alleged crew in 2010, where he described an idea to have his inflatable pigs say, and I'm quoting here, 1, follow the money. 2, scum. 3, dirty. So that's not good, right?
Ooh, because the first two, I was like, maybe it means something, I don't know who he's talking about. Maybe he hates pigs. The third one, yikes. I'll tell you what, we here on the show, we've got a long history that is pro-women, anti-hate speech, and, obviously anti-Semitism. I don't know how to say that simply.
We are
neutral. Under the umbrella of hate. No, that's way worse. We're going to bleep some of your words. It'll be shocking if this part makes it into the final cut. Folks, one of us got lazy. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought because of the horrible things you've said that we definitely bleeped. Oh, yeah, okay. Of all the slurs out there, that hard K, man, that one's always seemed pretty aggressive to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because, people get really upset when we say cunt here on the show. And
do you
I
think
find
it's
that fascinating.
just the hard C/K sound?
I mean, it has been scientifically proven to have a different psychological effect. Those Ks do it. But just personally, to write that on a pig, man, that's wearing the Star of David.
Yeah, well, it was earlier.
I guess I would ask if Raj were sitting here, I guess I would ask, okay, what did you mean? Mm-hmm. What was it supposed to mean?
When you put the Star of David on that animal that famously Jewish people are anti?
Yeah, unclear on exactly. They don't eat them. We know that.
Yeah. But you know what? Let's not get
Jewish
into it.
Jewish listeners write in. Does it end at eating, or do you guys have something against pigs in general?
I think they think they're dirty. It's a dirty animal.
Listen, I understand why they don't eat pork. I'm just asking, is it just the eating? I assume it is, because people probably got sick back in the day and they were like, oh, God said stop doing that, asshole. But I'm curious.
And you had trichinosis, so you still eat them.
Yeah, of course. Jewish listeners write in. I'm curious for the pork thing. Is it just eating, or are there other things that you hate about pigs?
Would you appreciate it if somebody put a Star of David on a pig and paraded it about a concert you were at? Would you feel safe there?
You don't need to write in. We know the answer is, of course, no. Good God. Sorry, we've derailed the history because this guy's done some crazy shit. Please continue.
Also in 2024, Frankfurt canceled one of his shows, which was a news exclusive on this very show, if I remember correctly. I think we broke that story. It was eventually overturned, but he was investigated for his Nazi-style uniforms at his Berlin show. He pointed out correctly that he was opposed to fascism in general and had been dressing like that in concert since the 1980s, which is not a great argument, that last bit. And then incorrectly said that he thought he was being attacked by Germany under the behest of the Israel lobby.
What? Bro, this has nothing to do with that.
Well, I like the idea that they were just like, you're being anti-Semitic. And he correctly was like, no, I'm not. This is not anti-Semitic. This kind of is. The next thing I'm going to say. What's wrong with you?
But listen to this.
Yeah. And listen, I don't think he is necessarily a bad person. I think that this comes from, I think that he is an anti-fascist person. I think that he is on the side of the little guy.
Disenfranchised. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why he's very supportive of the Palestinian people. And I think that in his heart, he is doing it from the right place. It just comes out kind of anti-Semitic and anti a bunch of other stuff. It comes out poorly.
I think that everything you said can be true, and also he's wildly misinformed about some things.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I specifically didn't go down this road, but I would be very surprised if he didn't have a bunch of weird, vaccine opinions and such.
Oh, yeah. Just a whole litany of hot takes.
Yeah.
Tim, he listens to his gut. He doesn't read the science. He listens to his gut. And that's good enough now.
I guess. Garrett, that's pretty much it. He is something of an asshole who made some really, really great music in the 1970s and has made a shit ton of money since then, so he wins. Peace and chaos be upon you.
Chaos and peace to you, Tim. Great history. Way, way faster than I expected. Really well focused. That brings us to the album itself, folks, and general thoughts time, Tim. I'm curious. How would you like to handle the nature of this album? Because, folks, we've got ourselves a concept here.
We do. So I think we should discuss the story before we get into it, because
I agree.
I don't think that the songs encompass the story. I think that they hit notes in the story, but
they're tangential.
Yeah, like we would have to add in parts of the story between songs. Like we would have to add in our own placeholder songs to flesh out the story. But I think we should do that just before we get to. I think we should discuss everything other than the story now, and then hit the story, and then song by song.
I agree. If it's okay with you, I'd like to read the story that is written in the album itself.
Yeah, that works.
Great. But first, general thoughts. Tim, coming into the album, I had an expectation. I was expecting synthy Pink Floyd. So that sounds a little wrong. I was expecting
80s Pink Floyd.
80s Pink Floyd. That's well said. That's what I was expecting. Sort of David Bowie, Let's Dance mixed with Another Brick in the Wall. And I gotta say, at times, that's exactly what we got here.
Mm-hmm.
At times. At other times, I don't know what we're dealing with.
Well, it's very
so
strange.
Weird.
Yes, because, okay, so there is definitely an 80s sound, right? This is all of the instrumentation, the keyboards is very in the 80s, but it's more Roger Waters-y than I was expecting. There's a lot of Pink Floyd in here. Like you can hear bass parts that sound like a slightly 80s version of The Wall. And I don't necessarily think it's him playing the bass, but I think there's also some 80s reinterpretation of some things from Dark Side of the Moon. A lot of the the female guest vocalists prominently used in some songs in here remind me of some Dark Side of the Moon stuff. There's the saxophones, the horns.
Ooh, the saxophone and horns. The saxophone is like a serial killer on this album. It's stalking us through every single song. And just when you think you've eluded him, fucking The Shape, Michael Myers, a.k.a. the Sax Man, comes stepping from the shadows to give you like... Yeah. It's like, well, I guess he's back. Here we go. More sax. Can't escape him. He's just when, like, you can get 2/3 into a song and then have the sax start.
Yes.
That's not allowed. So strange.
Rog apparently really dislikes this album in retrospect. Part of it is that they inexplicably trimmed a double album to a single album. This was originally going to be 16 tracks, and they cut it down to, first they cut it down to 11, then they cut it down to 8 with, there's like 4 songs that ended up being B-sides that might fill in the story, who could tell? But the story or the concept is not really in the album. Parts of it are, but definitely not all.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I think broadly the story is there, but I mean, there's not enough songs for it to fill out all the detail.
Right. It's also for a concept album, like 8 songs in like 40 minutes. That's shockingly short.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We should do a new rule of 8. No more songs after the first 8.
Oh, done. Yeah. We'll call it the Led Zeppelin 4 rule. Rog also doesn't like the production on this. He says he tried too hard to make it sound modern and is embarrassed by some of the vocals, some of the backing vocals, and some of the part where Billy pretends he started a war. We'll get into it.
I mean, that's got a part of the whole concept. How do you not have that?
I don't know.
But the vocals, dude. Let's talk about the backup vocals for a second. Distracting to me. Odd choice to put and actually, let me take a step back. You and I have said a number of times here, it's Pink Floyd meets the 80s. Let's define the 80s ever so slightly. For me, I mean the style and popularity of pop music, and we'll say pop rock music, a la David Bowie, of the era.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is that more or less what you mean?
Pretty much, yeah.
But then coupled with the sensibility.
You also get a little like George Michael-y kind of things in there, and I mean, just,
it's pop production and like rock music at the time. What would turn into like new wave, what would be the remnants of new wave and mainstream rock. So like, trying to think who else this is like. I mean, well, you got like the Cars, and the fucking, there's 100 bands you could list from the 80s that just sound very similar to this, but also Roger Waters. You've got me all fucked up. Also, Roger Waters is there. But now the backup singers, even stranger to me. Because it's like, hey, let's get some soul backup singers and have them in this.
Right, but I mean, that's sort of his thing, though, because, I mean, he's not a great singer. He never has been. But if you listen to Dark Side of the Moon, that's all over that album as well.
Yeah, but it makes more sense there when it's not like there's also a sense of like a technology, because folks, the 80s thought it was the pinnacle, the height of technology. And so everything was technical. We're moving to digital. These are robots. A lot more on that in a minute. But you can't have that, like, at the time, modern 80s techno influence mixed with like these soul singers. It sounds insane.
Listen, I agree completely. He doesn't agree, though. Right? Like,
no, I'm just saying the distinction is those old albums, it works because you don't have those elements. The bleeps, the blorps, the drum pads, folks. Remember when everybody said, you don't need drums anymore. You can have these horrible drum pads. I'm sorry, did you say they're horrible? Yeah, they don't sound anything like drums. They're great.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just one of his moves, right? Is just to have this in there, right? Like, because they weren't part of Pink Floyd back then either. They were just some people he brought in and was just like, hey, we're doing this now. And I feel like if you had thrown that into, I mean, if you're listening to, Pink Floyd pre-Dark Side of the Moon, I also would have probably been like, well, I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's true.
But the other thing is, like, oftentimes they have these female vocalists just wailing on here, and then they'll throw a saxophone in over their wailing. And you're just like, what is happening here? Are you, like, okay.
Magic's happening.
You hired some sort of like gospel singer to do Dark Side of the Moon on this Bleeps and Blorps album, and then we're just like, well, let's tone it down by playing a saxophone loudly over these vocals.
Yeah, it's an odd conglomeration. That's the problem here. I enjoyed this week. It's weird. It's not like unlistenable. It's not horrible, but it is. Boy, are the sum of the parts worth considerably less than the pieces.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's really fun, but it has this like welcome to the future feel to it, mixed with Roger Waters' sentiment, the backup vocals we've already mentioned, and just a who's who of musical stylings and instruments that you will recognize from other hit singles of the era. Like there's Genesis instruments in here, we'll get there. Like several hooks and styles that were super popular have wormed their way into this Roger Waters album. And it comes together to just make you go like, this is sort of like when the Flaming Lips made that album where you had to like play all the records at the same time. And if you fucked it up at all, it's just kind of like listening to two different albums simultaneously. And that's not fun. That's kind of what you got here. You're just like, what is this mix of styles? Somebody turn down that Roger Waters. I'm listening to why can't I think of any 80s bands today? I'm at a loss for 80s bands, and I listen to them. Duran Duran. It's like I'm trying to listen to Duran Duran, and why is there a Pink Floyd album playing in the background or in the foreground?
Yeah.
What else do we need to say about this before we get into the story?
Before we get into the story, let's just address the lyrics and everything kind of on its face. So it's oddly straightforward. It's extremely light on metaphor, which is odd. It's basically Tommy. There's a little bit less molestation going on in here, but mixed with The Wall, X-Men, War Games, Rog's political views that have a real broken clock twice per day effect, all in the context of this LA radio show that's similar to like Queens of the Stone Age Song for the Deaf. That's just bizarre. But I kind of get what he was doing and why he thought this was might be a good idea. In 1987, this probably didn't seem like a terrible idea, a terrible combination of nonsense. But I will say, at least he's willing to try interesting and weird stuff. I would much rather listen to this nonsense than like a David Gilmour solo album, despite the fact that Dave is a much, much better musician in every regard. It's just...
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, like David Gilmour is not going to have a bunch of references to dogs and dogs barking and like... it's fucking weird.
It's shockingly literal.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Like, there's not a lot of question about what's going on, except for when you have a lot of questions about what's going on.
So here's the problem. He wrote 16 chapters of a book that is incredibly literal. And then somebody somewhere took 8 of those out, and then they're just like, meh, let's still publish it. It's fine.
Yeah, and which 8? Was it? It's seemingly random.
Yeah, because they can't possibly have been the best songs. Mm-hmm. Especially not those last 4 songs. They're terrible.
Oh, they're not good. They're really not good. Yeah, let's see, what else needs to be said? It's all within the construct of this radio show, so a lot of interstitials, and what was frustrating to me is that Genius Lyrics seem to append the intros and outros at different parts than where they appeared in my tracks. Mm-hmm. So like the outro to one song was the intro to another song, so that'll be fun. Let's see, what else need to be said?
I think you should just go through this story.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I am very excited to tell you folks a story, because this story is loosely referenced in the album we're about to talk about. And as Tim already said, it would be nearly impossible for us to explain what was supposed to be conveyed, so we're going to give you the background ahead of time. If, for some odd reason, your grandfather owns this album, go find it. All of what I'm about to read appeared in the album itself to prepare people for the story of Benny and Billy.
Okay, it appeared on this black background, this difficult-to-read green text. It's kind of the aesthetic from The Matrix, and some of it's in Morse code. Morse code.
That's did you say Morse code?
I did.
There's really just no explanation for that. Oh boy. Okay, let's get into it, folks. Let me tell you a tale. Radio K.A.O.S. by Mr. Roger W. Waters. Benny is a Welsh coal miner. He is a radio ham. He is 23 years old, married to Molly. They have a son, young Ben, aged 4, and a new baby. They look after Benny's twin brother Billy, who is apparently a vegetable. The mine is closed by the market forces. The male voice choir stops singing. The village is dying. One night, Benny takes Billy on a pub crawl. Interesting. Drunk in a brightly lit shopping mall, Benny vents his anger on a shop window full of multiple TV images of Margaret Thatcher's mocking condescension.
What a bitch.
I mean, yes. In defiance, he steals a cordless phone. Later that night, Benny cavorts dangerously on the parapet of a motorway footbridge. In theatrical protest at the tabloid press. That same night, a cab driver is killed by a concrete block dropped off a similar bridge. The police come to question Benny. He hides the cordless phone under the cushion of Billy's wheelchair. Billy is different. Oh boy, get ready for a real plot twist, everybody. Billy is different. He can receive radio waves directly without the aid of a tuner.
Yeah, that's really bearing the lead right there.
Yeah, maybe start there. He explores the cordless phone, recognizing its radio-ness.
I mean, that's accurate, right?
Yeah. Anyway, Benny is sent to prison. Billy feels as if half of him has been cut off. He misses Benny's nightly conversations with radio hams in foreign parts. Molly, unable to cope, sends Billy to stay with Great Uncle David, who has emigrated to the USA during the war.
To be clear, that's kind of where the album starts.
Accurate. Much as Billy likes Uncle David and the sunshine and all the new radio in LA, he cannot adjust to the cultural upheaval and the loss of Benny, whom for him is home. Uncle David, now an old man, is haunted by having worked on the Manhattan Project during World War II. Fascinating. Designing the atom bomb, and seeks to atone. He also is a radio ham. He often talks to other hams about the Black Hills of his youth, the male voice choir, about home. He is saddened by the use of telecommunication to trivialize important issues, the soap opera of state. However, Live Aid has desynthesized him to an extent. Billy listens to David and hears the truth the old man speaks. Billy experiments with the cordless phone. He learns to make calls. He accesses computers and speech synthesizers. He learns to speak. Billy makes contact with Jim, a DJ at Radio K.A.O.S, Chaos, a renegade rock station fighting a lone rearguard action against format radio. Billy and Jim become radio friends. Reagan and Thatcher bomb Libya. Billy perceives this as an act of political, quote, entertainment and fireworks to focus attention away from problems at home. Billy has developed his expertise with the cordless phone to the point where he can now control the most powerful computers in the world. Really, with a phone. Okay. He plans an entertainment of his own. He simulates nuclear attack everywhere, but deactivates the military's capabilities of the powers that be to retaliate. In extremes, perceptions change. Panic, comedy, compassion. In a SAC bunker, a soldier in a white cravat turns a key to launch the counterattack. Nothing happens. Impotently, he kicks the console, hurting his foot. He watches the approaching blips on the radar screen. An impact approaches. He thinks of his wife and kids. He puts his fingers in his ears. Silence. Whiteout. Blackout. Lights out. It didn't happen. We're still alive. Billy has drained the earth of power to create his illusion. All over the dark side of the earth. Candles are lit. In the pub in Billy's home village in Wales, one man starts to sing. The other men join in. The tide is turning. Billy is home.
12% of that is in the album.
I'll say 25, but sure.
Okay.
There's a lot missing.
Yeah.
And it's for the better.
Track number 1, Radio Waves.
DJ sounds a little like Goldblum to me.
He does, yeah. It's apparently a real guy, Jim Ladd, from a actual Los Angeles radio station that I guess just signed on to do this. Starts off with Morse code, and then Jim saying, "This is K.A.O.S. You and I are listening to K.A.O.S. in Los Angeles. Let's go to the phones and take a request." And he begins starting out talking to Billy, who informs him that he can hear radio waves in his head.
Now, Tim, let's make sure everybody understands that Billy uses speech synthesizers a la Stephen Hawking to communicate. So it's, "Hello, I am Billy." Yes? I can't even do it. It's so weird. "I hear radio waves in my head."
I hear radio waves in my head.
Pretty good, actually. You hear radio waves in your head. Is there a request that you have tonight for Chaos? And then the song really starts. And whoo boy, it sounds like a bad 80s movie opening.
Yeah, we get Roger Watersing over some real heavy bass and synth.
Yeah, heavy drums, super sparse guitar. And I feel like on this song, he's kind of doing a Bowie thing.
Yeah.
With his radio waves. He begins, radio waves. He hears radio waves. Right off the bat, we're learning Billy hears radio waves, Tim.
Right off the bat, we're 30% through that story you read.
It doesn't have to go in order. Talk to Quentin Tarantino. You can jump around.
But it doesn't jump back, really. I mean, we get snippets. It's sparse.
Listen, I'm going to make my case. You get to prove yours. We'll get to the end. We'll see if it's in there. I'm not defending Roger Waters. I'm not defending Radio K.A.O.S, but I think it's enough. Let's get into it. We can at least agree we've set the stage. Billy hears radio waves. And because that's an asinine statement, I take that to believe he can hear the radio without any sort of radio.
Yes, but he can hear anything.
Within earshot.
Yes,
so
and
to
now
speak.
radio waves are, of course, just frequencies bouncing around, so I assume that he hears all sorts of stuff that's driving him insane. Maybe he can
You
tune
would think.
it.
Well, that's exactly what we're about to get into, so let's keep going. The atmosphere is thin and cold. The yellow sun is getting old. The ozone overflows with radio waves. AM, FM, weather, and news. Our leaders had a frank exchange of views. Are you confused? Radio waves.
He does kind of do a Bowie on the radio waves. That seems like what he's going for.
Yeah, and this song in particular on the radio waves feels very radio waves. So I think he's got the Superman issue, where if you can hear everything, you hear everything. I don't understand how he tunes it into individual frequencies. Feel like it would drive you insane.
Yeah.
Song continues. Magic Billy in his wheelchair is picking up all this stuff in the air. Billy is face to face with outer space. Messages from distant stars, the local police calling all cars, radio waves.
So it does sound like he's kind of just inundated with this. And
Yeah, seems that
also,
way.
it makes me, like, it's unclear why he needs that phone.
That's for making the calls. He just hears the radio.
Okay.
Let's see here. The song is effectively over at the 2.5 minute mark, but don't worry, the song's well over 4 minutes, almost 5. We'll call it a good even 5. But you have to have about 90 seconds of him just saying radio waves over and over and listing different types of radio waves, like hopeful radio waves and dopeful radio waves, Russian radio waves, South to Paloma radio waves, etc.
There is a ton of listing stuff on this album. It really drives me crazy.
Feels like filler to me.
Yeah.
All right, so we've set the stage. Billy's here in radio waves. Track number 2, Who Needs Information?
Who needs information?
And this is the Roger Waters I know. But first, we, of course, get the DJ intro. Tim, you want to be Jim or you want to be Billy?
Well, I want to be
You be
Billy.
Billy. You do a good Billy. Yeah, of course you do. All right. So, DJ Jim. All right, that's a song called Radio Waves. You're listening to K.A.O.S, Chaos in Los Angeles, and we've got Billy on the line.
I'm from the valleys.
You're from the Valley?
No, Jim, you schmuck. The valleys, Wales, male, voice choir.
Oh, you're from Wales. Now, is this sperm or blue tip?
Very funny, Jim.
Sorry.
Me and Benny went out.
Who's Benny? And then we get into a song I very much was expecting to get on this album. It's a less deep, slightly sillier Pink Floyd.
Yes. And again, it's a little confusing because the information about Billy in his life seems to be, like, the way the album is structured. The information about Billy is delivered to both Billy and the DJ from the songs, like, between the interstate. It's probably best not to think too hard about this. But
yeah, you're really wrapped around the axle on this bad boy. So here, let me see if I can pull you out of the deep water. The way I think about it is that the events that I read at the beginning of the song by song have happened. And now he's living in Los Angeles and he's telling his story to Jim.
Yes.
And it just so happens that the songs that are played in between are vaguely reminiscent of the events of the story.
Or exactly about him, and it's just a huge coincidence.
Yeah, happens all the time. You ever hear that Under the Bridge song? Beat for beat my 90s.
Oh my God. Garrett, you need to get checked for hepatitis.
Let's get into the song, folks. It begins after that DJ conversation. I want to compliment you. I know I'm going to regret it. I know I will, but I have to do it. It's a great Billy. Your Billy's really good.
You know, why though? Because it's so close to my natural voice.
I wasn't going to say it. I put it in the too mean column.
I know, I understand. I get it.
Oh, double compliment for having the bravery to admit it. Good stuff. All
Thank
right,
you.
song goes. Okay. Here's the problem. That wasn't as good.
Well, that's because I was freeballing it. No,
you're really
freestyling.
watersing right now. Just zip it up. Just zip it up and get out. You were on a high note. Back to the song. Me and Benny went out last night. Okay, so it seems to be pretty much about Billy and Benny, which I don't know how we've gotten this far, and one of us hasn't said, could he have just gone with a not B name?
Oh, absolutely. In my notes, I've mixed these guys up several times. And
So many times.
I went back to correct it, and I was like, meh, whatever.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, me and Benny went out last night looking for fun, supping ale in the moonlight, waiting for the dawn to come. Benny pointed at a hi-fi shop. He said, "Hey man, look at all that stuff they've got. How'd you make a have out of a have not?" That's why. So I don't even know if we should address this, but in his prelude, he describes Billy as a quote unquote vegetable, which while it's incredibly insensitive, I take that to mean like, not doing anything. It's odd he's on a pub crawl.
Yeah, I think he's just got cerebral palsy, and Roger Waters is an incredibly insensitive human being.
That makes sense. Yeah, he's just paraplegic. Okay, I'll get over that. So Billy and Benny go out on the town. They're having a pub crawl, getting pretty wasted. They see a hi-fi shop, and to, get back at the man, they smash the window.
Yeah, well, Benny, yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, obviously, Tim. Don't be insensitive. So song continues. Who needs information when you're working underground? Just give me confirmation. We could win £1 million. I take this to be a reference to the mines of Wales, of which I have gone caving in. And
do you mean spelunking?
What did I say?
Caving.
No, I think I meant caving.
Well, check the tape.
I mean, I also spelunked. I don't know. I went down like 1,500 feet into a cave. and got very, very wet and cold.
I think you
Anyway.
splunked.
I definitely spelunked. I just don't know that I exclusively spelunked. Listeners, write in, hatePodMail@gmail.com. What did I do? I have no idea what I asked for, but apparently in some episode recently, I asked for people to title stuff, "Is it weird?" And yes or no. We have so many emails that begin, "Yes, it's weird." I have to go back and figure that out. Okay, back to the song. Yeah, so I think they're saying, like, who needs information? Just peddle nonsense to us, and we just were minors anyway. And I do wonder, Tim, just give us confirmation we could win £1 million. Is it just saying, like, give us hope that we might win the lottery and that's all we really need? False hope?
I think so, yeah. They just need something to be, like...
Distracted by.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And okay, so this is where the song, this to me is the most interesting part of the entire album, because my interpretation runs completely in the opposite direction of what Billy tells us happened.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. If we didn't agree on this, there's going to be a Rocky 5 next tracks, but I think we're going to be okay. So, song continues. Benny climbed up on a footbridge and he teetered on the parapet. He said, "Can you see the whites of their headlights? Are they coming yet?" So let's just pause there for a moment. And it sounds like Benny is waiting for cars to pass under an overpass.
It does.
Okay, just checking. Let's continue. Oh, this is where the powerful sax kicks in, just to be clear. So powerful. God, if I'm not too lazy, I will put some powerful sax in here. We'll see. The chorus again, but this time they've added lines. So all that business about who needs information, and then they say some way out of here 6 times in a row. Get ready, Tim. Here it comes. Benny hefted a breeze block, and he tried to let go. Got hung up on a teardrop, so me and Benny went home. Okay. We've been told that Benny had nothing to do with a cab driver being smashed to death by a rock that was hurled off of an overpass. But then we're told a story about Benny at least attempting to do that very crime.
Yes. Yeah, it is unclear to me if his brother killed the cab driver. It seems like either he did or he was about to, and then someone else coincidentally killed a cab driver. Like, maybe, okay, what about this? Somebody that was on this pub crawl with him got a little bit drunk, kind of got left behind, and he sees these two on the bridge. He sees Benny pick up this breeze block and almost throw it on a cab, and then he puts it down, and he's like, speaking of no one's looking. And after they leave, he chucks a block down on this cab driver, turns Benny in for it, and, perfect crime.
Yeah, no, he's pissed off. Maybe Benny stole his best gal, and he's like, "I know what I'll do. I'll smash a kibbie off this bridge, I will. Everybody knows that Benny likes to smash the kibbies." And he totally framed him up.
Yeah.
I've met a Welshman. Actually, Wales, I adore you. I highly recommend anybody, if you're looking for a vacation, go check out Wales. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it is teeming with murderers that will frame you for those murders.
It's teeming with one-lane roads in which you will be murdered by Matthew Broderick.
Throwing bricks on you.
Take that. Chorus again, and then we get an outro by DJ Jim. He lights a cigarette. He says, "So your brother's in jail?" And then we hear the closing of a prison door.
But did he kill
Tim,
him?
I think he did it.
I do too.
I think he did it. I think Billy is an unreliable narrator.
I think Billy was starting it off like, oh yeah, he picked up this block and he waited until the cab driver was right under it, and then he just sat it down and we went home. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't even go that far. He admits that he wanted to murder that cab driver, and it was just pure coincidence that it got caught on a teardrop in the overhang.
Yeah,
it wasn't that he had a change of heart. Yeah. Fucking Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son. You ever seen The Good Son, Tim?
No. Maybe.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, we need to watch The Good Son.
All right.
It's got Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin, and Macaulay Culkin's an evil little boy. He throws a dummy he made off an overpass. It's fucking terrifying. We're watching this movie.
All right. Well, we got about 2 hours. No, we got, about 2 hours in between 1998's Godzilla and bedtime tonight, so we can do that.
You do not dictate when I go to bed.
Track number 3, Us or Them? No, Me or Him.
Listen to
very strange musical change here.
Yeah, it's a softer song. There's a recorder. There's a woodblock.
There's a what is this called? A shakuhachi? A Japanese flute. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, think Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer.
Yeah, I called it a recorder because I didn't want to do that much research.
Shakuhachi, Tim. We do the heavy lifting.
This is mostly about Billy's brother Benny and his mundane life, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's about focusing on all the wrong things, Tim, and not being grateful. We need to get back to living as foragers in mud huts, I think is the message of this song. I'm going to make a crazy statement, and you'd probably have to go back and listen to the song, which I doubt you'll do. But this song, every time I listen to it, especially when he gets shouty later, sounds like a Modest Mouse song to me.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Not identical, but every time I was like, this could be covered by Modest Mouse. And you don't need to agree. That's okay. Little homework for the listener. Also, we get some Morse code in the background, of course. Oh, and like a lot of acoustic guitar.
Yes, along with that recorder.
Shakuhachi.
You wake up in the morning, get something for the pot, and wonder why the sun makes the rocks feel hot. Draw on the walls, eat, get laid, back in the good old days. Then some damn fool invents the wheel. Listen to the white walls squeal. You spend all day looking for a parking spot. Nothing for the heart, nothing for the pot. So yes, you're right. He is lamenting the days when you could just do cave paintings and bone until some asshole made white wall tires and we had to, go to work.
Yeah, it's basically Springsteen's glory days. Like, only in this instance, the glory days are living in caves and getting laid and also dying of the simplest infection.
Yes, and sometimes
The
being
good old
bitten by
times.
some sort of tiger creature.
Or a wasp. Either way, you're going to die.
Yes. Benny turned the dial on a shortwave radio. Oh, how he wanted to talk to the people. He wanted his own show. Tune in Moscow, tune in New York, listen to the Welsh kid talk, communicating like in the good old days. He aspires to be a DJ, I guess.
Yeah, he's telling the tale of Benny and his Hammond days. Tim, you like a good ham, right?
I do. I used to. I got drawn into a dark world of intrigue and lots and lizards and trucker murder. Speed.
Goodness
so much
gracious.
speed.
I guess a lot of people don't know that the movie 8mm is based somewhat on your life.
Most movies are.
Nope, that's untrue.
And
That's a truly delusional statement.
That's fair. Okay, so then there's more evidence that Benny did commit this murder, right?
Please put it forth.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It was either me or him. And a voice said, Benny, you fucked the whole thing up. Benny, your time is up. Your time is up. Followed by, Father, it was either me or him. Father, can we turn back the clock? I never meant to drop the concrete block, right? This is, of course, a direct reference to David Wilkie being killed by the, striking Welsh miner that did this in 1984, I believe. But it does imply that Benny did, in fact, do this.
Yeah, I think he totally did it. Waters, write in, hatePodMail@gmail.com. I know you're listening. Did he do it?
And while you write in, can you please tell Garrett how to pronounce your name in British? It's Roger.
I do not think that's true. Having never met a British man named Roger. Wait, yes, I have. It's Roger.
No, it's not. That's just how you pronounced it.
I feel like he would have corrected me.
They're very nice, Garrett. Well, polite. They're not nice.
Yeah, they're not nice. Quite polite, though.
It ends then with some Reagan campaign ads that seem super relevant today. Things like, do you really think Iranian terrorists would have taken Americans hostage if Ronald Reagan were president? Do you really think October 7th would have happened if Trump were president? Do you really think the Russians would have invaded Afghanistan if Ronald Reagan were president?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Do you really, and it's like that old school newsman advertising, like, do you really think third-rate military dictators would laugh at America and burn our flags in contempt if Ronald Reagan were president? Well, it might work. We as a group do most importantly want to beseech you, President Reagan and our fellow Americans, to refrain from any form of military or violent means as an attempt, no matter how noble or heroic. Ah, God. Yeah, it's weird how cyclical things are. Tim, I miss the 90s.
Yeah, there were good times before this stupid internet thing. No social media, no AI.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're just at the tip of that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see here. That's the outro, and that brings us to track number 4, The Powers That Be.
Tricks, carrots and sticks. They like fear and low.
Full on 80s, Garrett. Super bassy, super synthy, lots of bleeps and blorps.
But don't forget, I think there's a lot of backup singers going, the powers that be, the powers that be. So it doesn't make any sense. We get an intro from DJ Jim. He says, this is some live rock and roll at K.A.O.S, where rock and roll comes out of chaos, and a song called The Powers That Be.
The powers that be, the powers that be, the powers, the powers, the powers that be.
Let's see here. I think, Tim, because I really struggle to really tie this back to our story, that the Billy story was bringing the listeners down, and so the DJs try to play something a little more up, a little more hip and with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
No, this is random, like, vague political-ish references and, like, keywords, but there's no consistent through line, and it doesn't relate to the concept.
Well, there's a very vague sense of they, them, Tim, the powers.
Oh, I do know them.
Yeah, but that could be anybody, right? That
Yeah.
could be lizard people, the Illuminati. No, see, now that's what it isn't, and we're going to bleep that. Good God.
Well, right, but that's what it is for him. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think you want a recording of you saying that.
Oh, God, no, Garrett. Trust me, I'm bleeping it before you bleep it, and then I hope you bleep it a second time.
I will give it a second bleep. Are we rapping a little bit in this song?
Kinda. I mean,
like a tough game, no rules. Some you win, some you lose. Competition, good for you. To die, to be free, they're the powers that be.
yeah, that
This feels
counts.
Corey adjacent.
They like a bomb-proof Cadillac, air-conditioned gold taps, black backseat gun rack, platinum hubcaps. They pick horses for courses. They're the market forces. They like order, makeup, limelight, power, game shows, rodeos, Star Wars, TV. They're the powers that be. If you see them come, you better run.
The powers that be. The powers that be. It's odd.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much more to this. It kind of continues in that same vein. It's word salad about, like, them and political and, without actually saying anything.
Yeah, who they are, what they're after, or what exactly he's referring to. Just, them, the general powers that be, which makes for kind of a boring song, except about, 2/3 into the song, just out of nowhere, Billy says, please, Tim, be our Billy.
Good night, Jim.
Good night, Billy. But then the song continues, and it just repeats for a while until we get to the very end and we get another interstitial before the next song with a barking dog. So you hear a barking dog, which is apparently Uncle David's Great Dane, and this is where things get odd. We fade in on bullheads, 3 red snapper, 1 pink snapper, and your Pacific Coastal Trench hose monster fish. Oh, at Sky Daniels, juke joint of joy reports, 40 under the console, giggle stick lick cod, 23 purple perches, 4 sledgehammer head sharks, and what a surprise, 84 crabs and no red snappers. Apparently that's a commercial. It's all very confusing because we cut back and we hear, hey, and that'll do it for the triumphant return of the fish report with a beat. Jim says, we think of it as a main street, but to the rest of the country, it's Sunset Strip. You're listening to K.A.O.S in Los Angeles. Tim, do you have a better read on that? I don't understand what that was.
No, I've probably deleted most of that. It was stupid. There's a fish commercial, and we're into the next song, track 5, the Sunset Strip. So musically, this has like an 80s take on like an almost like classic rock and roll style thing.
Very Americana.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a Bruce Springsteen song at parts. There's some doo-woppy backing vocals. And again, this is super straightforward. Billy is living in LA after his brother went to prison for a crime he didn't commit or probably did commit, but he misses whales. Like, that's the whole song.
Yeah, that is the whole song. And in case I love that you picked up on the Springsteen thing. That had to have been intentional.
Yeah, one would think. I mean, because it was so big right there. Like Born in the USA was like 3 years before this, but it was probably out when he was thinking about this album.
Yeah, he would have been writing this album while that was still at the top of the charts. So very big like that. And he's very surface. He says, I like staying with my Uncle Dave, and I like playing with his Great Dane, but I don't fit. I feel alien and strange, kinda out of range. I like riding in my uncle's car, down to the beach where the pretty girls all parade, and movie stars and paparazzi play the Charles Atkins kicking sand in the face game. He loves L.A. I mean, sure. But he misses Wales because he says, and I sit in the canyon with my back to the sea. There's a blood-red dragon on a field of green, calling me back, calling me to the Black Hills again. And I get it. I have been caving in the Black Hills of Tanagrishai.
Oh my God. You're just, this is embarrassing, Garrett. You're,
For you?
no, not for me, Garrett.
Is it because I said caving? Was it Tanagrishai?
It's the whole thing, Garrett. It's how you're trying so hard to be a Welshman. They're not going to take you, Garrett. They're not going to save you from this country.
I've got to get out of here. Tim, they're going to make me do stuff.
Oh, yeah, because of the skills you have. I get it. I would, too.
Don't take their side.
Oh, I'm not. I'm saying I understand why they would.
Fair. All right, I think we can jump to the end of the song because it quite literally is just more of him missing Wales. Then we get to, of course, another interstitial where Jim says, you are listening to K.A.O.S here in Los Angeles, and a new character called the California Weirdo pipes up and says, I don't like fish. And Jim says, yes, we've established that. Do you have a request? Shellfish, he lists several fish. It's quite boring. And then finally Jim says to stop, and that puts an end to that. But Tim, I'd like to be home with my monkey and my dog. I'd like to be home with my monkey and my dog. That is repeated 20 times. It's, what does it mean?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, at least we're done with it. Track number 6, Home.
This continues from the last song, Billy Wants to Go Home, and everyone, Garrett, I don't know if you've noticed this, everyone has a different conception of what consists of home, if you think about it. And we'll get into
it. And oftentimes they might be conflicting. Even.
Yes, and sometimes it's real weird and offensive.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, let's see. Music is hardcore 80s synth and digital drums or drum pads, like we mentioned earlier. The song itself makes me picture a gentleman walking in the rain thinking about his best gal who might have just broken up with him.
Okay.
Let's see. So the man has taken away Billy's home in Wales, aka the comfort of his brother, and so we hear this lamenting song about missing home. Let's list some places that you could call home. Could be Jerusalem, or it could be Cairo. Could be Berlin, or it could be Prague. Could be Moscow. Could be New York. Could be Lunelli, and it could be Warrington. Could be Warsaw, and it could be Moose Jaw. Could be Rome. Everybody's got somewhere they call home.
Just listing places like an asshole.
Yeah. To end it with a childlike metaphor.
And again, here's the thing. This is completely... Cut this song and add another song that has something to do with the plot.
Maybe Benny in prison. Maybe he's become some sort of warlord, or he admits to a stoolie that he actually did kill that cabbie.
Yeah. There's apparently a cut song, it's like Molly's song or something, about her decision after Benny goes to prison to send Billy to L.A.
I respect that cut.
Well, no, but I mean, it's at least, this song is the same as the last song. You can cut it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It really isn't much different. Let's see here. After he lists several places, he says, get ready for some clumsy metaphors, folks. When they overrun the defenses, a minor invasion put down to expenses, will you go down to the airport lounge? Will you accept your second-class status? Tim, do I want to go to the lounge or do I not want to go to the lounge? I think I don't, right?
I think you don't.
That's like selling out or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. This is an us versus them kind of thing, right? You don't want to hobnob with a hoi polloi, if you will. You want to stay with the lower class so that you don't, get beheaded in the guillotines.
Sure. Or to put it in Roger Waters' terms, not going to say what you think I'm going to say. You don't want to hang out with the powers that be because reasons.
Yeah.
A nation of waitresses and waiters. Will you mix their martinis? Will you stand still for it? Or will you take to the hills? That I don't mind. Maybe one of the better written lines in the entire thing. Like, more and more you see super rich people, and you see more people having to work like in the quote unquote gig economy, which is a cute word for borderline slavery. Like, you see how much a
and it's
Uber
weird,
Eats driver
like,
makes?
especially in this city, because I understand how half the people afford to live here, but the 50% of people that work in restaurants, where do they live? Do they commute in from Jersey every day? What's happening? It's does not seem sustainable.
Yeah, we barely live here. How do they live here? How do we live here?
We live here based on your salary.
God damn it. At some point, we have to start saving money. I really hate it that I just said we.
Yeah, but
I
I mean,
have
listen,
to start saving money.
you
You got to account for me.
Yeah,
I'm going to
absolutely.
be there.
Yeah, and I'm going to be spending most of that money.
Oh, I don't know why I ever gave you access to that account.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You can't take it back without my signature, so.
It's the weirdest system. Why would it work that way? Let's see. When the cowboys and Arabs draw down on each other at noon, in the cool, dusty air of the city boardroom, will you stand by a passive spectator of the market dictators? Will you discreetly withdraw with your ear pressed to the boardroom door? Will you hear when the lion within you roars? Will you take to the hills?
I do like that cowboys get a shout out.
I think it's mildly derogatory.
Maybe. I mean, that's how a lot of people refer to all Americans, which I do find derogatory to the cowboys.
I find it very funny. Also, I think your organization might be a cult. Just saying. He then lists like 50 things that could be your home, like your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, a fireman.
A Turk.
A Turk.
A Vietnam vet with
no arms and no legs.
A cripple,
Could be your
a
home.
freak, a wop, a geek. Probably bleep some of those.
I did not write those down. Oh, was he on the Straight Talk Express, Tim? Because if not, there's no excuse.
Could be a fanatic, could be a terrorist, could be our leaders in their concrete tombs. I do think he believes lizard people live in underground bunkers and run the world.
God damn it.
I'm just
God damn
saying.
it.
I don't think so.
Well, they don't.
Roger
that's good.
thinks so.
Roger.
In this country, I would agree with you.
We're in this country.
I understand, but Garrett, I'm being respectful to him.
I don't think so. I think you're purely being disrespectful to me. You're a butthole. All right. It ends with Billy telling Jimmy that a nuclear strike is imminent, because of course he does. Tim, do you have the words so that we can do this?
4 minutes and counting.
Okay.
They press the button, Jim.
They press the button? Billy, what button?
The big red button.
You mean the button?
Goodbye, Jim.
Goodbye. Oh, yes. This ain't au revoir. It's goodbye. 4 minutes.
We're back to the plot. Billy has apparently hacked the nukes, the satellites. Humanity has 4 minutes to live. There is a huge gap, right? Okay, so in the album, he is in LA. He's talking to the DJ. He says that he can hear radio waves. He tells a little bit of backstory about Benny and how Benny definitely murdered that guy. He mentions that he's homesick. Skip a whole bunch of stuff and...
Well, you heard him playing with the dog. You know he's with Uncle Dave going to the beach.
I don't think...
What else what did he leave out?
That's fair. Now nuclear war is imminent.
Yeah, that part's a little unclear. Like, I don't think Jim should have guessed that was coming next. Let's see. We open the next track with Jim, of course, saying, "This is K.A.O.S. It's a beautiful, balmy Southern California summer day. It is 80 degrees. I said balmy. I could have said balmy." Okay. And then Jim begins to read a baseball report. He says, "I'm Jim, and this is Radio K.A.O.S, and with only 4 minutes left to us, let's use this as wisely as possible. Out at Dodger Stadium, it's the bottom of the 7th. The Dodgers are leading 3-0 over the Giants, and for those of you who are looking to go surfing tomorrow, too bad." Then the phone rings. Jim answers, and he says, "I'm kind of lost in here, to tell you the truth." "Okay, good. I'll handle it." Hangs up the phone, comes back to the microphone, and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, if the reports that what we are getting are correct, this could be it. Billy, if you're listening to me, please call now." Cue the clock, Tim.
And we finally get to the point of this whole thing, right? Roger Waters sings about how if you narrowly avoided a nuclear holocaust, you would stop being an asshole to one another, right? He says...
For like a day.
Yes. Probably less than that. We definitely wouldn't, even for that amount of time. After a near miss on a plane, you swear you'll never fly again. After the first kiss when you make up, you swear you'll never break up again. And when you've just run a red light, sit shaking under the streetlight, you swear to yourself you'll never drink and drive again. That last bit seems telling for Rog's life.
I think it's just a dated thing. I think that used to be pretty common.
Oh yeah, that is true. Probably more common, but like disproportionately way more socially acceptable.
Yeah, I think this whole verse is very difficult for me to relate to. I've had several near misses on dozens of planes, and I just keep getting on them. I'm also, and Tim, I think you might be this way. If I break up with a lady, that's it. We're done. You're dead to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting back together.
And on 2 occasions in your life, not because of anything you did, not saying that. Just saying they
I wish
died
you hadn't
soon
said
after.
any of it. I can't say what you're saying is not true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's beyond insensitive.
Well, sure.
Technically, it happened long after we were dating, so like it's not like somebody I was with past. It's just somebody I used to date past twice. Wait. You thought I was dating them because I thought that they would die soon? We're gonna edit some of that out. Welcome back, everybody. You're not gonna have heard any of that last 30 seconds. Okay. Wow. Then the Phil Collins drums kick in, and they are undeniable. Song continues. Sometimes I feel like going home. You swear you'll never let things go by again, and you'll never toe the party line again. And when the east wind blows, sometimes I feel like going home. So yeah, his big plan here is basically, I've thought about trying to do this like every 6th week, try to trick myself into thinking Sunday is Monday so that I wake up and I get all the way to work only to realize I have the whole day off. Like that's a treat.
You attempt to
But he's
do
trying
this?
to do it. I haven't, but it seems like it would be hard to fool me.
Yeah, no, this is the same thing as like setting your alarm 10 minutes early so that you will be early to things. And then you realize that, so you just mentally set every clock back 10 minutes and you end up being late for everything.
Yeah, no, that's definitely how it would happen. Let's see, then we cut back into Jim, and he says, Billy, if you're listening, please call. The California weirdo says soul has no eyes. He's still talking about fish for some reason. And then Tim, Molly, as you referenced, she doesn't get her own song anymore, but Wife of Benny kicks in out of nowhere. Goodbye, little spy in the sky. They say the cameras don't lie. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I good? Am I bad? She's singing to God or satellites or something.
Yeah, and I think she was supposed to have a much bigger role in this album in general.
Yeah, I think you're right. Otherwise, it just seems very disjointed, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing's kind of wacky. We hear a lot of noise, some rocket sounds, some blorps, and a countdown. And then everybody's favorite Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, says, our own independent nuclear deterrent has helped to keep the peace for nearly 40 years. Jim says, goodbye, Billy. And it's on to the next song. Track number 8, The Tide is Turning, after Live Aid.
Surprise, it was all bullshit.
Some soft electric piano that sounds a little like harps, and then of course there's more Morse code in the background. I almost called it Morse code.
Did you translate this?
I did, but I have 2 different translations.
Oh. Mine says, now the past is over, but you are not alone. Together we'll fight, Sylvester Stallone. We will not be dragged down in his South China Sea of macho bullshit and mediocrity.
Yeah, I don't actually think that's what it says.
No?
No, I think that's some internet bullshit. I think what you're hearing is Roger Waters, Radio K.A.O.S, Who Needs Information, The Powers That Be, Home, The Tide is Turning, and Radio Waves.
Then why does he reference Stallone later? Or Sylvester?
Dude, why would he reference Stallone at all?
That's what
I don't
I'm
know.
saying.
Listen, I want you to be right. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying I think it's nonsense. Okay, so sounds a little like a musical to me. He says, I used to think the world was flat, rarely threw my hat into the crowd, and I felt I had used up my quota of yearning. Very lame, dude. Very lame. And it's a song about how uncool he is and how scared he used to be.
Mm-hmm. that's the thing. I would have thought that you would have related to this because most of this podcast is you telling us about how uncool you used to be and how scared you used to be.
Well, never scared, Tim, just uncool.
That's not true. You developed your sense of humor because you were bullied.
Doesn't mean I'm scared.
You were so scared of that guy. He was so big, Garrett. He was a veritable Michael.
No, I also just got the shit kicked out of me a lot. Because I wasn't scared. Should have been. No, I don't relate to this at all. But it's also about how confident he is now or how everyone should be, because the world isn't going to die. He says, used to look in on the children at night in the glow of their Donald Duck light and frightened myself with the thought of my little ones burning. Creepy, right?
It is. It's really nightmarish at the end there. Here's the thing. So at the end of the last song, we were counting down to nuclear Armageddon. Here, we're talking about how I used to think this, I was worried about my children being set on fire, etc., etc. He never actually says in the album that it was bullshit. Like, that's never in the actual music.
Well, he says that...
It's never actually said.
Okay.
That's weird, right? Like, that's the whole crux of the thing.
That's true. I guess that's why you got to read the liner notes. Otherwise, you don't know.
Well, absolutely. But that's just what I'm saying. It's a very incomplete concept album if you have to read this much. That's
fair. No, you're totally right. It's missing half its songs. Of course, it's incomplete. But I'll also say that if you don't know that, if you didn't read the liner notes, it's actually a very dark song. It sounds like Billy did blow up the earth, and now he's like, the great cleansing has been completed. The tide is turning.
Yep.
Excellent. I prefer that reading. Benny did it. # Benny did it. That's the shirt. Benny did it. What a strange reference that would be. Hey man, cool shirt. What does Benny did it mean? Oh, Pink Floyd? Well, I don't know, 7 years after You'd Give a Shit, Roger Waters made this concept album that they hacked to holy hell. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But in it, one of the characters claims to have not murdered a cab driver. They're walking away. Okay, yeah.
Have you heard about the Wales miners' strikes of 1984? Okay, he's walking away.
Tell me, friend, what do you know of Welsh shale mining?
Quite a bit, actually. I am not walking away.
Oh, you've called my bluff. Back to this pile of trash, because we're almost done. Oh, I will say, Tim, this guy might have been right to worry, though, if he truly did have a Donald Duck light, because we had I think it was Mickey with Pluto, and it was just like this pressure-molded 80s plastic over a nightlight.
Real hot.
That motherfucker the whole inside was burned. It's a wonder it didn't burn us alive in our beds. And you could smell it. Like, it was, when you'd put a fresh bulb in, you were like, oh, yeah. It's, I don't know what I'm inhaling, but it's mostly plastic. Let's see. Ooh, the tide is turning, Tim. The tide is turning. Who is the strongest? Who is the best? Who holds the aces, the east or the west? This is the crap that our children are learning. But the tide is turning. So he saved the earth with his fake 9/11. That shit only lasted about 6 months, so I got to imagine a fake one would only last about, half a day?
Yeah. I feel like everyone would be pretty pissed at Billy for about half a day, and then we'd go back to, the honking.
Yeah, I mean, it would be sort of a War of the Worlds situation. There's a good chance a lot of people would get killed just because everyone would overreact.
Mm-hmm. Or they would be like, well, so the world's going to end in 4 minutes anyway. I may as well murder because,
right, exactly. Why not? Yeah, there's no consequences. And it was weird you jump to murder.
Well, it's, the thing I would do.
Fantastic. Yeah. Tim, how'd this do?
Poorly. This hit number 50 in the US, number 25 in the UK. No idea how it did in the Dutch. It is only certified silver in the UK. Pretty poorly.
Wow. What do people think of it?
Well, Garrett, we have a Robert Christgau review, so we can play that Robert Christgau jingle made by Brett Peterzak, and then play the Robert Christgau game. In which Waters' wheelchair-bound version of the deaf, dumb, and blind boy learns to control the world's computers with his cordless phone, then simulates impending nuclear holocaust just to scare the shit out of the powers that be. I have serious reservations about any record that can't be enjoyed unless you sit there reading the inner sleeve. But this is not without its oral rewards. A coverable song or two and some nice comping on shakuhachi, whatever you said, as well as the deep engineering that made Floyd famous. As pretentious goes, not stupid. Garrett, B. Harvey. What did Bobby Christgau think of this album?
I don't feel confident here, Tim. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say B-.
Ooh, so very close. He gave this a B. Solid B. Also,
Okay.
he seemed to think exactly what we thought about it.
Just incomplete, not entirely terrible, but very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other reviews, Tim?
Sure, I've got one from Amazon Customer, and this was reviewed in the United States in 2018. That's important, in the United States. Great. But the one thing I think Amazon USA can learn is how to ship items. Just visit your Amazon Japan branch to learn. I received this CD along with a life vest for my sailing dinghy. The CD was just sitting at the bottom of the box. The life vest was buffering it, but it still slid around. Here in Japan, the items are glued to the box with a film that prevents anything from moving around. Also, the box quality is much better. Yahoo's service is really great and fast, even from the US. Just the material and effort put into shipping lacks a little detail, I thought. Just a different way of thinking, I guess. 5 out of 5 stars.
Ugh.
Also, again, not in Japan. He is verified purchase in the United States. Fuck you, Amazon customer, you lying weirdo.
What is he? Well, also, what's Yahoo shipping?
I don't know.
Listeners, write in. What's he talking about?
Traxler from 2014. On an emotional level, Waters' music is appropriate for modern times. For those who have toiled and suffered under the indifferences of capitalism at least once or twice, knows then maybe only on a subconscious level the shortcomings it fails to maintain at times its own standards. Once capitalism rights itself and crooks and elites are dealt with and we have righteousness and justice in the land and capitalism returns to fairness and opportunity and free markets for all people without central banks and corporations calling all the shots, his music will slowly become a strange historical oddity with rocking artistic music. Until then, he's relevant. 4 out of 5 stars.
Such an impassioned defense, and then couldn't give him 5 stars.
One more, Garrett. This is
What a dick.
This is by Rob, entitled Poor Copy from 2013. I purchased the album as one piece. I received all songs as individual tracks. This is unacceptable because the whole album is one long, unbroken story. It ruins the effect to not have it as a single copy, and I will be asking for my money back and will order a CD or MP3 that is sold correctly. 1 out of 5 stars from a guy that doesn't know he can make a playlist.
These are the craziest reviews you've had in a while. The
And
Japanese shipping
they're so
guy.
varied, and so they're crazy in completely different directions.
They are all a pain in the ass, though. Every one of them.
Yeah.
This guy, just so I'm clear, his complaint is that this album's not sold as like a single MP3.
Yes.
Because at first I thought that he ordered a CD and somebody sent him 8 singles,
No.
which is really funny.
But no.
Here you go, asshole. God, that's so great. Any other reviews?
Nope.
That brings us to, who is this for?
This was made very specifically for 2 people in their audience, Garrett. This album was made for this show. Like, specifically for us.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think he thought he was making a broadly appealing album.
He thought he was making The Wall, and he thought this was going to sell 30 million copies.
Yeah, it's not The Wall. All right, Tim, final thoughts. Anything that need to be shared after we've been all the way through it? Is the story in the album, I guess, is the big question.
30% of it is. But the main plot points are not. The fact that this was a hoax the entire time is completely left out of this album.
That's true. That is true. The fact that it is a hoax and that nobody dies rather than everybody dies. Otherwise, this is a Holocaust concept album. Tim, do you hate this album?
No, I don't. I think it's fun and weird, and given the fact that we have those liner notes, it's way weirder. Again, I think this was made specifically for this show. I don't like it. I would never go out of my way to listen to anything on this. I think that it's a bad album. Specifically, it's a bad concept album. But it was fun. It was fun to do, and I don't hate it. What about you? Do you hate this?
No, I don't hate it. I'm trying to think if I could ever put this on purpose, not as a goof. And I don't think so. I don't think I would ever put this on for enjoyment.
True, but what a great goof.
Oh, it's excellent to have like a bunch of people in the car and just put this on. Although Like, I always find that really funny because we've listened to countless albums that if you just were playing them casually like it's your music, people would think you were truly insane. But this has so much talking in it. It would almost be like having a podcast on, like just listening to it while people are in your car.
Given the radio show conceit, people would probably be like, hey man, can you like put a CD on or something? What is this?
Yeah, what are you, 80? Is this the radio? What's happening? No, this is a CD.
That's the joke, man. I don't like this.
All right, that's going to do it though. You don't hate it, I don't hate it, we don't hate it. Why should anyone else hate it? I hope folks gave this a listen just for the show. I don't blame you if you didn't. It's very strange. One thing that stood out to me, Tim, is if we hadn't had the internet or the liner notes and you just heard this album, I don't think you could make heads or tails of what's going on. And you definitely think he killed everybody.
Yes. Instead of just that one cab driver.
Yeah, that he also definitely killed. Release the Waters cut. I want to hear the whole thing end to end. Well, I don't because I won't.
No. Here's the thing. If Roger Waters releases the Roger cut, we will do another episode on this. I pledge that to you.
But we'll only listen to the new tracks, not the old ones.
No. We're going to do the whole thing over again.
No.
Come on. You've already done it. You can...
Please no.
But we're going to miss so much of the story if we only listen to half the songs like we did this week.
That's the joke. Oh, life bits. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for us this week. I hope you had a good time. As always, reach out to us, hatePodMail@gmail.com, or on Instagram, that's hatepod, Twitter's album hatepod. I'm G Harvey Tweets, but really Instagram or email are the two best. Really, email's the best. If you want to get a hold of us, we've also got Discord servers, subreddits, all that shit that you do on the internet. So if you want to do internet shit, go search for our stuff and it's there. I think that's it. Please do reach out to us. We'd like to hear from you. And most importantly, if you can convince somebody else to listen to this show, we'd sure appreciate it. Lots of fun new things in the new year, but we can't talk about them yet, but we can someday, and that'll be fun. But until then, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson. And it turns out that all the libertarians and the Don't Tread on Me's and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Eamon and Clive Bundys have just been lying this whole time.
Yeah.
Or are selfish cowards.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.